Welcome back, class, for the second half of the first notes. So today, we are going to continue on. Instead of focusing on merely vocabulary and addition, we're going to move on and we're going to deal with subtracting these polynomials. To make sure we remember our terminology though, we're going to do a really quick review. So, create a third degree trinomial. Well, third degree means I need to have an x cubed in it. Trinomial means it needs to have three terms. So I'm going to toss in a 2x and a minus 5. So there is a third degree trinomial. Has a term with a third degree. A trinomial means it has three terms. Next, create a quadratic trinomial with a constant term of 10. So quadratic means that it needs to have a squared term. So I'm going to have 3x squared. Trinomial means it needs three terms with a constant of 10, constant being just a plain number. So I'm going to have minus 2x, and that tells me my constant, my number by itself, must be 10. All right, now it's asking us to add these two polynomials together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to line them up. So x to the third, leave a spot for x squared plus 2x minus 5. I have 3x squared minus 2x plus 10. Now we can just add all the like terms. So the x cubed just comes down. 3x squared just comes down. 2x minus 2x, well, that actually just cancels out. Negative 5 plus 10 is a positive 5. So our solution is x cubed plus 3x plus 5. That's what we get when we add our two polynomials together. And now, it wants us to name our polynomial. So, it's a third degree, so it's a cubic, has three terms, trinomial. And just as a really quick review of the vocabulary we've already covered. Now, moving on to some new stuff. When we're looking at subtracting polynomials, subtraction is the same as adding the negative or opposite. All right, so the way that I want to think of this is adding the opposite. So I'm going to rewrite this whole thing. So I'm going to have 3x to the 4, leave a spot for the x cubed, minus 2x squared plus x minus 7. And now, I'm going to flip the sign of everything in the second one. In order to subtract it, I'm going to flip the sign of everything. So it's going to become a positive 4x to the third, a positive x squared, and a negative 2. All right, so basically all I've done, I've distributed that negative throughout. I've written the opposite of everything inside the second parenthesis. Now, why have I gone to all the work to do that? Well, because if you notice now, it's the same as what we did in the first notes. We distribute that negative throughout everything. It's now an addition problem. So we get 3x to the 4 plus 4x cubed, negative 2x squared plus a 1x squared is a minus x squared. X plus x gives us 2x. Negative 7 minus 2 more is a minus 9. So again, the two important things to remember when doing this. Flip the sign of everything in that second parenthesis and make sure you line up all the like terms accordingly, okay? So let's take a look at a couple more examples. So for this next one, again, I'm going to write out this whole problem. I'm going to rewrite it. So negative 2x squared plus 4x minus 1. Again, the first parenthesis stays the same. It's just fine. The one that's negative, I'm going to distribute that negative throughout. It's going to flip the sign of everything you see. So that becomes a negative x cubed, a positive x squared, and a negative 2. So again, important thing to remember, rewrite the entire problem and make sure you're lining up all of those like terms. So I'm going to have a negative x cubed. Now, negative 2x squared plus 1x squared. Negative 2 plus 1 is a minus 1, so we'll have a negative x squared. 4x plus 1x is 5x. Negative 1 minus 2 more is a minus 3. And again, just help you remember, after we distribute that negative, that's why we can add everything. Distributing the negative changes it to an addition problem. Looking at our next one. So, we're going to rewrite the whole problem. So we have 4x cubed minus 5x squared plus x minus 3. Now for the second parenthesis, I'm going to take that negative and distribute it throughout. So that becomes a positive 2x cubed, positive x squared, a negative x, and a positive 10. And in doing so, again, this becomes an addition problem. So now, I just combine all my like terms. 4x cubed plus 2x cubed, 4 plus 2 gives me 6x cubed. Negative 5 plus 1, negative 5 plus 1 is a negative 4x squared. X minus x just cancels out. Negative 3 plus 10 is a positive 7. All right. Moving right along. Now we're going to discuss the properties of word problems. Another important skill to have here is being able to construct word problems from this. Now, there's some key words to look out for, some key vocabulary that will help you know when to add and when to subtract. So, adding, we're going to be talking about a sum, total, all together. Words like that will indicate to you that you are adding the two polynomials together. For subtracting, we're going to be talking about things like less than or difference. And of course, there's other words that can come up, but this is just to get you thinking. So if you see a word and it's similar to one of the words in this vocabulary, well then that's where that word belongs. So let's take a look at this word problem. The amount of money that you raised doing a fundraiser is 15x minus $100. The money that you spent on it is 10x minus $50. Write a simplified expression for the difference between the amount that you raised and the amount that you spent. All right, so the key word here I want you to notice, difference. So if we're talking about the difference, it means we're going to be taking that 15x minus 100 and we're subtracting the 10x minus 50. All right? Now, what you've identified that you're subtracting, now you know the exact steps you need to take. Well, recall, when I'm doing this, I always rewrite the problem. So take that first parenthesis. Well, now I'm going to take that negative and distribute it. So negative 10x plus 50. I flip the sign of everything inside, which turns it into an addition problem. 15x minus 10x gives me 5x. Negative 100 plus 50 leaves me with negative 50. So that is my polynomial answer, the difference between those two expressions. Now, to flash back, so if you raised $2,000, it wants to know what X is. Well, let's see here, if you raised $2,000, let's see, what does that mean? Well, the amount that I raised was that 15x minus 100. So if I raised 2,000, well, that's giving me an equation now. So I can set that 15x minus 100 equal to 2,000. So saying I ended up raising 2,000. Well, this is something we should know how to solve. All right, so I'm going to add 100. Oh, 100 to both sides. So that leaves us with 15x equals 2,100. Now again, my x is being multiplied by 15. So how do I undo multiplication? I need to divide. So I divide both sides by 15. So 2,100 divided by 15. That gives me the x is 140. Alright, so my x is 140. Well, how much did I spend of that? Well, if x is 140 and I spent 10x minus 50, now I can plug that number in for x. So 10x, well, x is 140 minus 50, that'll show me how much I spent. So, order of operations, do the multiplication first. So this is going to be 1,400 minus 50. So that's going to give me that I spent $1,350. All right, so that wraps up this note. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you have all these notes written down, and then I will see you in class.